This week on your Old School RuneScape update, we step into the Ironman way of life with our guest, Shwa. Shwa tells us about his RuneScape story and his ultimate goal of 99 untrimmed Herblore Ironman style. Also this week, run energy changes and our thoughts on the future of the graceful outfit. This is the Old School RuneScape update, episode 34, recorded Saturday, June 29th, 2024. Skilling with Grace. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Old School RuneScape update. Sirion and myself are here as we are each and every week. Good to be here with you as per usual. Mm-hmm. We also have a fun and interesting guest joining us this week. A bit of a stroll down memory lane for me, but nonetheless very relevant to current old school content, Ironman related content, and of course the update of the week. I'd like to introduce everybody to somebody who has been around the podcast many years ago, but is back now on the Old School RuneScape update, and that's Shwa. Goes by Swain Training Game. Welcome aboard.
Hello, glad to be here.
It's good to.
I love your saying a fun and interesting guest, implying that we might get guests on that are not fun and interesting.
I mean, you never know. You never know. You could have a guest that just falls asleep through half the episode, right?
Oh no, that wouldn't happen. We wouldn't let that happen.
No, we probably wouldn't. We probably wouldn't. But Shwa, of course, welcome to the old school side of the podcast. Folks who want to see what we're up to this week, follow along show notes over at update.show/os. But give us a brief intro of where you started RuneScape and just who you are.
All right, so I started playing RuneScape probably around the winter of 2005, I believe. Into the spring of 2006 is where I first got started, and that's when I was playing under my Shwa account. And that is actually where I started using the RSV&B calculators while they were being hosted on RuneHQ, if that doesn't date me as a player. But then I just started kind of getting more into RSV&B as a whole and just playing RuneScape. At that time, it was just the one main game.
What is RS2? That became old school. That version, right?
Yeah. Mostly RS2 because, I kind of stopped playing right around where it could logically be translated into being RS3, with the EOC and the graphics kind of taking the turn, the way that it turned out. And so I kind of stopped playing for a while and then reemerged right when Old School came out. I very closely followed the initial polls for the game when it was coming out and participating and getting the word out to all my friends to try to get them to vote to bring the game back. And hey, it paid off. And so I've been playing Old School for as long as it came out. Herblore has always been my favorite skill in any of the games. That was always my claim to fame when RS2 was going on and Shane was going for his Herblore and farming capes. I was right there with him trying to race him. I lost, but I came close, but ended up getting the cape a little while later.
I still feel bad about that.
No. It was all very friendly competition, and he was there to celebrate. I think Shane, you edited my 99 video.
I might have. I know I edited a bunch of folks' 99 videos back in the day.
Yeah, I'll have to see if that's still on YouTube somewhere. But I think that I got that like in 2012. I'm not sure exactly when I got it.
Okay, so before things started winding down on what was RS2 and whatnot, but okay.
Precisely.
Yeah, so what's your current adventures on Old School like?
Current adventure is I've been playing my Ironman account. Have been doing that since probably about 2018, I think is when I started it. Obviously, very, very slow progression as Ironmen tend to go. Working on Herblore. Since I don't have a lot of time to play anymore, I wanted to try to get my Herblore cape on the Ironman, which has been
Untrimmed?
not. See, I was trying to go for untrimmed, but much like I don't know if it was the guest or if it was you, Sirion, on the update a few ago where the hand is not a hand, talking about trying to get that untrimmed Slayer cape.
Oh, that was Dan.
That was Dan,
okay,
yeah.
So much like Dan, I was kind of running into the problem of gaining too much XP in hit points as I was going along, because I didn't really want to do like Herblore or something that wasn't combat related in order to get herbs and seeds. I ended up slaying Necrils in the Slayer Tower because I found they kind of had the healthiest herb seed dropping rate. Kind of ran the numbers against Abbey Specters and whatnot. So I ended up getting 99 hit points a few weeks ago, probably about 2 weeks before I finally had all of the seeds that I needed for 99 herb. But the problem is I have to kill 12,000 of the giant mole, so I was going to get a 99 in a combat stat, I think, one way or the other. So the untrimmed Herblore cape is a dead dream for the Ironman, but I did get it on my main account. Back when Old School first came out, I played, just a regular main, and even before the Grand Exchange, I was buying up units and stuff off of people, and used that.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know you did that there, too. Nice.
Yeah, it was... I mean, I kind of knew when Old School came out that the Grand Exchange was not going to be far behind. As much as I loved the World 2, standing around talking, bam, typing the same thing over and over to buy and sell things, I knew that that wasn't going to fly long term and that the nostalgia wouldn't be enough, that people would get tired of it, much like they got tired of it in RS2.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And so, as much as I love doing that and the trading post that came before the Grand Exchange, I knew that Herblore was going to become an expensive skill again, because I was working on Herblore when the Grand Exchange came out originally, and it absolutely decimated the skill, as I'm sure you're aware, right, Shane?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't have 50 mil to drop on a cape, especially for an untrimmed Herblore cape, so I just speed ran 99 Herblore, and I think I was like one of... I don't want to say I was like the 320th, but it might have been like the 3,000 person 299 Herblore when Old School first came out.
That's not a bad accomplishment. So I guess looking at it into that perspective, what then led to the idea of the Iron Man?
Well, the Iron Man came about actually because I was running some bosses on my main account and was just kind of getting into that community, and I ran into a couple of guys that I was killing some bosses with, and we would converse on Skype and other things like that. They ended up scamming me. Not really sure exactly how they got my password, but I lost everything that I had. And by that point, I was working a big boy job, and I don't like buying gold because it's illegal in the game, so I would buy bonds. So I, was like mom's credit card type of account, but, still relatively high combat. But I lost everything. And at that point, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm done with it. I'm just going to make an account that can't trade with anybody. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to depend on anyone. And as a result, things have been better in that respect.
Fair enough. Sirion, do any of your motivations for going Iron Man overlap with that at all, or?
I mean, definitely, because I considered going group Iron Man for a moment, because I think there's it covers a lot of the similar challenges, but you're still sort of dependent on other people. And while I haven't had the motivation, while I haven't been scammed in the past, it's still, depending on other people, it's annoying. I'd rather not, in a sense. So No, my motivation for being an Iron Man is really I just love the problem solving that comes with, you can't just go to the GE and buy something. How am I going to get access to certain materials? How am I going to get access to certain materials in bulk? Like the problem solving that comes with that, and trying to find a not completely inefficient path throughout that. That's sort of what pulled me towards being an Iron Man instead.
So Shwa, what was the biggest problem then? Kind of just piggybacking off that. If you look at the entire range of things that you could do problem solving wise, what would you say the most challenging aspect of it was problem wise?
Gosh, it would really depend because, I would agree, Sirion, that it eventually kind of evolved into a real, like, pride and satisfaction of every grind that you finish and, gear upgrade that you can get. Really, one of the hardest ones was right off the bat, which was how to get, like, full rune. And because I wanted to, kind of gear up from my Addy set at the time, I wanted rune, plate body, legs, kite shield, or a granite shield. Wanted, the Zerker helm, all of that. And so I was looking at about 200k that I had to make. But as an Iron Man, you can't make anything worth alching, really. You can't sell what you need to any shop. And, I needed actual liquid cash. And so in early game Iron Man, it was certainly hard. And I ended up doing the route that I think most Iron Men did at the time, which was picking up ecumenical keys in the wilderness. And then I think I alked those. And so I needed like 25 keys, but there were PKers everywhere. And I was very, very squishy target being so low level.
And to be clear, you're not a hardcore, right?
No, I've died many, many times.
These keys are not an option for me.
I mean, you could if you wanted to live dangerously.
Yeah, I don't. No, but that's the interesting, like, gear upgrades, I think, are probably the best example of this, where, because, like, for a main account, you hit the level and then you go to the GE and you buy the gear, right? As long as you have the funds, that's sort of the end of it. Whereas, I'm looking at a very different way. Levels are not the main bottleneck of getting gear, right? Like the access to good equipment, like the challenges to get there are not skill based, but rather sort of doing the right content, getting lucky, and all of that. And that it makes for a different gameplay experience, I feel.
Yeah, and my first Iron Man experience, my first thorough Iron Man experience, I'll say, was on Leagues this past November, and for me that was a bit of a mixed bag, honestly. I don't know if I'd do it again, but I kind of got a picture into what you guys are seeing and are enunciating with this when it comes to the Iron Man kind of lifestyle. Like that. Yeah. So I guess my question following from that is that what would you say if you were just going to tee this up, what is the pinnacle of achievements for you going to be going forward? Because you get your 99 Herblore. Is that the pinnacle, or is there something else a little bit beyond that?
I would say that it probably is going to be the pinnacle of my account, unless I find some kind of crazy motivation, because personally with my account it's starting to get fairly high level, but it's kind of at a tipping point of where I would need to be devoting a lot of serious time and a lot of like serious combat,
right,
to kind of progress further in the game than I currently am.
Right, and you also said you play primarily on mobile, right?
That's correct, yeah. I don't really have a computer right now that runs RuneScape in a way that I would be tolerating. And so my phone is about as good as it gets right now. And so I've been playing mobile only, which I can do some bossing, but I definitely can't do, anything.
You're not going to go kill Nex.
Yeah, I can't kill, Nex. I probably could do Zami God Wars with the mobile if I was really, really careful, but even then, I don't think it's even worth the risk. But I certainly can't play any bosses that have movement-based things. I tried to do the Perilous Moons and absolutely got destroyed because...
Oh, that's a fun idea. Maybe we should have done that on mobile when we were doing that, Sirion.
Oh, no.
Yeah, with like the blood room where you have to like move back from the Jaguar. Like you just aren't you can't put your taps where you need them to be. And actually that's one reason that I was or am really, really excited about the new UI, because I also played around in the beta for that a few weeks ago, and the tile highlighting is going to be absolutely fantastic because that might help me so that I can actually know exactly where to be tapping, especially if the squares aren't exactly as clear as they are in some areas.
That's interesting. That's so interesting because I think on that episode I might have been the one that asked, where are we going to use tile highlighting? Because I know I used it a bit at wow, I almost called Zulrah Agra one of the Dragon Kid types, but I almost used it at I used it at Zulrah, and beyond that, I'm like, I don't know where else I'd use tile highlighting, but that's an interesting idea when it comes to things like the flinching on the Perilous Moons as an example.
I know I tested it out at because I kind of wanted to do some of the same stuff I was doing in my main game, but with the beta. And at the time, I was picking up blue dragon scales because that's the life of an Iron Man, is spending a lot of time collecting supplies and then going on Reddit and complaining about how much time you have to spend picking up supplies. And so to keep kind of a nice run flow going, I needed to be able to click where the actual scale was going to be showing up even before it showed up, so I can be running in the right direction. And so the tile highlighting helped there as well. I'd say the application is fairly limited, but I think that the RuneLite users are just spoiled by having had it for so long that you don't realize what a game changer it is.
Right.
To those of us that don't have it.
That was one of the biggest things when I came over was RuneLite. I started with the official client and then moved to RuneLite, about a week and a bit after.
Yeah, I started with RuneLite immediately. It was such a... It's changed my mind on plugins for RuneScape, and I think it's part of the reason of why old school is as popular as it is. I don't have the data on that, but I am still convinced that that's the case.
And there's such a vibrant community around it too, right? In terms of people who
the fact that it gets updated within hours of a new update, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, did you ever play on desktop, or were you only really mobile then? Shwa.
Oh, I mean, I've played for years on desktop. Back when it came out, and then I had a laptop when I was out in California that I would use it on, which also sucks. So honestly, playing with a laptop without an actual USB mouse is worse on the totem pole for me than playing on mobile. Trackpads are horrible. So it's been a while since I've actually played on a desktop, using RuneLite. I don't think I've even ever logged in with the HD graphics, plugins or anything that they have. I've only ever seen screenshots.
I mean, when it comes down to those, I think they're nice to look at, but for me, they just use too much CPU horsepower, so I just don't go with it. Are you looking forward on that then, I guess, to whenever Jagex puts out their own HD mode for OS? Because I know that's been teased at the last two summits.
Honestly, I would love draw distance more than I really care about the graphics. Okay. But that may be an unpopular opinion.
No, I can see that. That's one of the first things I did with RuneLite was draw distance and fog, because I didn't want the black
skybox,
the black skybox
color.
Yeah, that right. So, but overall, I mean, I guess when you look at it today and you say, well, I've done this much on the Ironman. After we finish up here, what are you going to do? Today or next time you log in?
Oh, shoot. Farm runs. That's, been pretty much my life. And then in between the farm runs, I've been kind of collecting my secondaries. And so I think the only one that I have left is Bird's Nest, and then amylase. I don't know what people call it, crystals.
Oh, God.
But with everything that's going on with the run energy changes in Graceful, I've actually kind of halted doing any more rooftop for Marks of Grace because I want to see like how all of that is actually going to play out and how soon, because if I can get crystals at a 25% faster rate than I am now, I'm not going to freaking do it.
I feel like this run energy change that was announced this week, I feel like there's people that are for it. I also feel like there's people that are just like, no, don't change it. It works fine how it is right now. Where do you land on that?
After doing the math that I have today, I'm going to say that I am for it. Yeah, I'm for it.
Okay.
I like the changes.
I'll on my side of it, the thing that I see is that, I came to this game with the foreknowledge that, I use lodestones to get around. I never run out of run energy. Agility is a useless skill, yada yada yada. But you get graceful, and then after that, you get the amylase crystals and what have you. And now I'm left sitting here. I'll come back to you, Sirion, on that. I heard that chuckle. I'm left sitting here.
Oh, you know exactly why I'm chuckling.
No, I
it's
don't
so
actually. Funny. I don't actually. But I'm left sitting here seeing, I got this wonderful graceful outfit. They're removing the 30% regen rate on it, and instead I get extra marks of grace. And I'm just kind of like just sitting here a little bit, dumbfoundedly with that. And I think that part of it, the changes around graceful, are the thing that bother me the most. And it's not going to bother me in such a way that it's going to, completely, ruin my immersion of the game and force me to quit. It's just like, oh, I don't know that I like that. Anyways, go ahead, Sirion. Tell us what you think and what that groan was for.
Well, the groan, it was a chuckle. It's just, I'm... The reason I chuckle when you said, like, you're so used to having lodestones is that even earlier today, you were like, oh no, I didn't bring a teleport because I assumed I could just lodestone to things. And to all of the questing we've done together, I feel you're the one who keeps running into the fact that a lot of, I don't know, I wouldn't even call it quality of life, but that a lot of the things that RS3 has don't exist. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm kind of the person who is relishing that, right? Like, I'm kind of sort of seeing that as its own charm, whereas you are seeing it as an obstacle to getting around as quickly. Yeah, and I love that. Yeah. I love that different mindset of these two and how that clashes. And yeah, that's what made me chuckle.
Yeah, like I will still be sitting here doing my herb runs, and I will have my finger on my surge key or my dive key in old school to try and surge forward to get to the next herb spot faster. But obviously that's not a thing. So it's just what happens from playing both games regularly, I think. But
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, Sirion, graceful changes? Yes, no, maybe so.
I'm in the same boat as yours. Like, I looked over like the entire thing, and I think the changes make a lot of sense. I
Overall,
agree.
Yes.
Overall, yes. I as someone who on their Ironman at some point bought membership because they couldn't stand the run energy anymore in free to play, yes, right? Absolutely yes. And I am all in favor of their decision to offset this by making weight have more impact on your drain rate. No longer will you be running around in full Saradomin gear during a quest where I keep telling you, please don't. You're going to run out of run energy. And you're like, but it looks pretty.
That's my biggest problem with this, is that I like the benefits of graceful, but I'd like to have the ability to look like something else. I know we got the recolors.
But why don't you like the graceful changes then? They're basically making graceful only really an agility scaling outfit, so you're no longer punished for wearing a completely different outfit.
Because I still feel like I need it for reducing weight.
Do you?
I don't know.
How much weight are you carrying around most of the time?
Well, sometimes I'm carrying like full inventories of things, as you've seen, right? But
okay, so you wear your boots of lightness and a spot here cape, and you're done.
Okay.
That's what I did whenever I was picking up those blue dragon scales. Is that I even used? Well, I mean, I was just using the spot here cape and whatnot for the extra weight reduction, but there's other options other than graceful.
When did graceful come out, by the way? Oh, that was actually early on, December 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's been here since practically the beginning of old school. Then fair enough on that, and I think we tie that into the into the rooftop agility courses quite well, because that's where it came out, and that was a player run piece of content with that. But maybe you guys are right in that perspective, that graceful in effect then becomes the agility outfit, boosting marks of grace.
Yeah, that's what it is right now, and I think that's okay.
But we also go back to
it's the same discussion again as the occult necklace,
right? And I was just going to say that the hand is not a hand.
yeah, like that. That's the problem with graceful. That being said, I mean, first of all, graceful is an annoying one because everybody who got it worked for it, right?
Yeah.
And it was always such a thing, and taking that away, I think it's tough.
And you know that because you did quest speedrunning for the blue one.
Oh, yeah. Like, I did. Yeah, exactly. So, making it a scaling outfit, fine, right? It can be a scaling outfit in a sense.
And I'll still get the green one to match the farming stuff.
I would like it to become a little bit more useful than the effects they have proposed right now, and make it a general, like, adventuring piece of gear. Because agility really is about getting around, and I feel like imbuing some ability into it, that would be great.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I would love, for example, to be able to, like, maybe imbue some of the task set effects into it, or, give it some kind of, like, give it the ability that we now have from the Explorer Cape, where you can so many times a day restore your run energy. Like, these are things that are a little bit more niche, but when you go and do a quest or do a piece of content where you need to do a lot of running, it's still useful.
Yeah, okay, so just imbue some passives into it then.
There's this crazy idea. They'll never implement it. You can use any agility shortcut while wearing full graceful without the level requirement, but level requirements remain when not wearing every piece of the graceful.
Sign me up.
I mean, I think something like, maybe not all outfits, but maybe you get like a 10% boost or something like that, or a 10 level boost. Yeah. Something like that I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
Or like special.
Like the one that I go back to is Sirion's method for 99 rune crafting after he gets the diary cape.
What? No.
The nature rune crafting.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. But okay, so that's the graceful side of it. What do you guys think? What do you think, Shwa, of the changes in particular to drain and regen and weight, and how all this synergizes with agility level?
I mean, I really, really was a big fan of how the run energy works on the beta worlds right now, without wearing graceful. I mean, it's basically like you're just always wearing graceful. And I think that was kind of the point of it. But granted, I don't know what it would be like for wearing or doing all of this at level like 1 agility or in the free to play aspect, because all of the tests I was running were with my current 82 agility, which isn't 99, but it's also not 1.
Yeah, whereas mine is 70 presently, which is actually in the table right now, believe it or not. So
yeah, and so I didn't find, or at least personally, I never found like this is how many energy is restored per tick. Maybe I'm just not tick focused enough. So that's why I was just kind of running to various places and timing it with the stopwatch.
It's very much how it feels, I think, more than just
so,
timing those things out.
I mean, just based with nothing being worn and beta world versus regular world, I was able to run from Lumbridge, like home teleport, to the Valley South gate on the regular game, and that took all of my run energy, and that's where I stopped having 0 kg. And in the beta world, I was able to run all the way to the Valley Crossroads before I hit 0. And that was running from Lumbridge through Draenor up the road kind of above Remington through Falador Southgate out the North Gate. So I would say, at least almost a third further. And then the time to recharge was just absolutely insane, that in the beta world, it was 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And in the regular world, it took 4 minutes and 46 seconds without graceful on.
And that's the thing that killed me when I started. Is just like, holy crap! It takes that long to restore run energy. Wow.
Yeah.
What if graceful let you rest
and restore energy?
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm just wondering if that's maybe too much.
Would you be able to do? You would have to be stopped, not on the go, right?
Yeah. Like resting in RS3, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, like the musical guys in RS3 that recharge your run energy.
You can rest without musical guys in RS3, except for nobody ever does it.
Yeah, because there's no need, because weight doesn't matter pretty much anymore, and agility is, something that everybody trains with their Silverhawk boots. Love them or hate them, and dare I say, this update here, this run energy update, is actually adding a bit to agility in old school, which I never thought I would say, given where we're at. And I still think agility is a bit of a rough skill around the edges, but I think it's certainly got more depth in old school than it does in RS3. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that.
I agree.
Rooftop courses, marks of grace, and everything, associated around it with the stamina potions and whatnot. Do you think people are going to, change their use of stamina potions with this at all?
I think so.
As in, it's going to be more popular, less popular?
I think that it'll be less necessary for them. I think that some activities that may have just been on the cusp of requiring a stamina potion may not anymore.
That's a good way of looking at it. I know.
I don't know if there's anywhere as far let's say crafting nature runes through the abyss. I don't know if that currently is, because I haven't done it really since stamina potions probably have come out. I don't know if you run far enough where you need that stamina potion to not be able to make it back to the bank or back to the Ferox Enclave.
Stamina potions will still probably have a use when you are wearing a lot of heavy armor.
Yeah, like in the Monkey Badness Tunnel, for example, when you're armored up in that quest, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or running through somewhere like God War's Dungeon.
Yeah, that, or even the Temple of Light, right, Sirion? Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
We don't talk about the Temple of Light.
No. It hurt us. It hurt us.
Have you guys done Song of the Elves yet?
No, not quite yet. Very soon.
That's next week if everything goes correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just know that I did it on my Ironman, so I'm sure you can do it.
What combat level were you?
That is a good question because I don't know off the top of my head, and I have a photo of it somewhere on my hard drive on my other computer. So I'll get back to you on that
that's
one,
more of a me question than necessary to the show right now.
But like I was wearing an enchanted robe top, like the purple and white one, and like other gears. So just know that I wasn't fully decked out in ancestral or Arams, or I think I might have had an Arams robe skirt, but that's why I ended up grinding out 82 Herblore for Sirion and Bruise, because I just kept dying on that boss, and I was like, screw it, I need Bruise.
Right.
And I had to find a way to do it.
Any quests that you needed agility for that you could think of that the proposed run energy updates would have helped you with?
Other than Morning's End Part 2 or Song of the Elves, Underground Pass.
Fair enough. Everybody has their own story with Underground Pass and whatnot, the times that they need to go through the pass. So I think that's probably a good way of looking at it. And I think the biggest thing, just to bring it all back to the run energy changes with this, is that I think a lot of people are in a general mindset when it comes to old school, is that don't change things for the sake of changing things, but at the same time we want more people to be able to get into old school. And if you're able to make that just a tiny, tiny bit easier at the low to mid agility levels, like between 20 and 50, let's say, by making some changes to run energy and just increasing quality of life on that, I think that's generally a good thing. So,
and making graceful not a requirement, but I don't know where I read it. Someone said, before graceful, everyone was just running around in a spottier cape and boots of lightness. So, the fashionscape that people imagine, which I think kind of, brought all of this on, was everyone's just always wearing graceful everywhere and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think that was as common as people remember it being. And that might be an unpopular opinion as well.
No, I got a bigger unpopular opinion. Add cosmetic overrides.
I mean, transmog is the real answer to this.
I know, but only I see that.
I feel like a lot of people should see that, but I mean, maybe that's just taking too much from other games.
Is there a plugin that you can transmog with, and then it'll send it to other people around you, and they'll see that?
Not around you, only yourself.
Okay, only yourself then. Yeah, because I've messed around with that, and it's like, sure, I can make myself look however I want to look in relation to that, but like I'm planning for when I get my untrimmed farming cape that I want to be able to wear that with a nice green outfit and wear that on all my Slayer tasks and whatnot that I'm supposed to be doing. So, but
yeah, that's one feature of RS3 that I really wish that we had, was to be able to display things like that, because I love on the main game wearing my Herblore cape around, but in combat situations it's better to wear a fire cape.
Yeah, and to be clear, folks, we're not talking about putting cosmetic overrides up for sale, just overriding with items that are already in game. Like if you have the Inferno cape and you always want to show that off, fine. If you have an untrimmed Slayer cape, fine. Or if you have an untrimmed Herblore cape. So, but I think that pretty much brings us to the end of run energy here. Shwa, is there anything else you'd like to share about your account, what you've been doing in RS, old school RS this past week? No, too long.
Not really too much. My life is fairly simple.
I always remember that about you. You always wanted the simple life.
I don't do well with some complexity, and I just very often don't have a desire to learn a lot of new things. Though whatever I've been doing is comfortable. Um, yeah, I can't really think of too much else I'm doing unless anyone has any better recommendations than killing the giant mole for bird's nests.
Have you been doing your birdhouse runs?
That is not birdhouse runs, because I need 12,000 plus bird's nests.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's only a few thousand birdhouses.
Like, I think I scoped this out before for leagues for some reason, and I think the best thing I came up with was birdhouses, but even that was painfully slow.
Yeah. And so I have my full Daroc, so I'm just gonna kill the mole. I have like this giant Herblore calculator that I'll have to show to you, Shane, that I made when I started this whole thing, which was kind of taking account of how all the herbs that I have, all of the seeds that I have, and then, you know, how many projected herbs there would be, and then back feeding all of the toad flax
I would
have.
So like reverse references, basically,
yeah,
right?
into all of the mole kills that I would have to make, because the seeds that you get from the nests that you get for turning in the mole parts have like Cadentine, Lantidime, and Dwarfweed, and some of the less common ones that you have. And so I had to account for that XP into it so that I knew exactly when to stop killing necrolls, because I killed 15,000 of them or so since December.
Have you looked into the hunter rumors? Because there's a chance that some of the hunter loot sacks there will drop bird's nests and herbs.
I did the hunter loot, or the hunter rumors, enough to get the Quetzal Whistle so that I could incorporate that into my herb runs. I don't think that I got like a crazy amount of nests.
Okay, so
in the ones that I did.
it's not reliable enough. Got it.
Yeah, because, you know, I always look at it in the frame of the mole, unfortunately,
Right.
which is you get about 3 nests per kill. And with Darox, a kill, you know, can take anywhere from 20 seconds to, you know, 3 minutes. And so unless the method is faster than that, I sadly am like, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the caves for a while.
The Mole is also a very fun TV show too. All sidetracking aside. Sirion, any questions for Shwa before we depart here this week?
Oof.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your perspective with us, updating us with where we've been all these years. And of course, I think just the good roundabout discussion we had on agility and run energy as well. So thanks so much for joining us on this episode of OSRS Update. Sirion and I will be back next week for another one. We have a big update to discuss when it comes to questing. And, of course, oh, God, there goes my phone again, activating the Apple's virtual assistant whenever I say your name. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Old School RuneScape Update, folks. See you then, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.